We putting work, turning nothing into something. They feelings hurt, we turning nothing into something. Give a fuck if they don't like me, cause all this bread I count excites me. Turning nothing to something, nothing into something, turning nothing into something.
What up? What's going on, everybody? What is going on? And welcome to a very special edition of Blunt Thoughts, episode 48 of the Blunt Thoughts Live. And it's something that, listen, when I thought about doing this has always been about the fan experience, right? The fan experience, the fans' opinion, the fans' point of view of our New York Mets, right? That's what I try to do. That's all I am is a fan. I'm not an insider. I'm not a expert. I'm not anything of the sorts. I'm just someone that, for whatever reason, likes to talk into a microphone and a camera. And I'm not even sure about that. I used to like calling the radio, and it blew up into this, right? Just from going on Twitter and doing videos and all that good stuff. But again, it has always been about the fan and how we feel and being able to share our blunt opinions, our honest opinions, our unfiltered opinions about how we feel about the team, whether they're right, they're wrong, they're indifferent, whatever the case may be. A lot of the times they're going to be emotional, right? Because that's what we are. We're emotional as fans. And with that, we get to where we are tonight, which is something that I've always wanted to do, is talk to the fans, talk to other fans and see how other fans feel, to see if my opinions match with other fans. If they don't match, see how other fans feel about the same thing I'm looking at. And you learn from that, and the X community, and I don't do much social media. I do X, and that's pretty much about it, especially when it comes to the Mets. I have a Facebook, Instagram. I don't use that stuff. But on X, again, you see other opinions. And we have someone here tonight with us whom we followed each other for a while, and I see her post, and she sees my post, and I like some of her posts. She'll like some of my posts. But this season caught my attention with a lot of her posts. And then particularly at the end of the season with a video that she did, I think it was like middle of September, where she talked about a few things, and I was like, wow, okay, so here's someone else who's bringing up the same things that I've heard from other fans and that I've brought up, and that sometimes you can't bring up in these circles. And then there was another video after that, and then there was a post that I've used to promote this whole thing, where she made a post about Griffin Canning, and that blew up. But anyways, let's bring this person up. Enough of me talking. Let's meet this person, and looking forward to having a lot of fun and getting her opinion on all of this stuff. But here's Jocelyn, or Jocelyn, or Jossie. How you doing? I was asking you but backstage, like, what is it? Is it Jocelyn or is it Jocelyn? Because I know, we're Latino. That's how we would say it. But I know in English or America, whatever.
Whatever you want to call me, it's totally fine.
Jossie. But how are you? And thank you so much for joining us.
I'm doing good. Covering from another Jets game today, but we'll save that for another platform.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You are one of those that falls into the Mets-Jets category.
Definitely.
I'm actually a little lucky in that I'm a Giants fan, I guess. And
I support the
Giants. Yeah. I'm the same way with the Jets. It's not like with the Yankees where I just can't stand them.
Yeah.
The Jets, I've never had any ill will towards. It's whatever. Like, it's cool. It's the Jets. Let's go. With that, I think that's the only one where it's like, oh, it's New York. Basketball, it's Knicks. The Nets, get out of here. Whatever. They were always insignificant until they moved to New York, and then they became significant in a bad way. But yeah. So, I'm sorry about your Jets, but it's not like my Giants are any better. I mean, do we have a quarterback? I don't know. Do we have a coach? Eesh, that's not looking good. But anyways, but yeah. So, like I said, we're looking at your stuff, and I'm like, oh, man, I kind of want to have a conversation with her. And at first, I'm like, how do I go about this? With females, it's always like the DMs and stuff, and so
it's totally fine.
I was gonna send a DM, see if she was, and immediately the fact that you was like, yeah, let's do it right away, and so excited, like that made me feel good. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, well, we know each other, and like you said, to your point, I've liked your post, you've liked mine. My DMs are really only reserved with people who I follow back, so I don't want any like weirdness getting in
Right.
there because it has trickled in there before. So yeah, no, I'm excited to be on. Thank you for having me.
No, for sure. So let's get right to it. Well, first off, again, this is about a fan
Hmm.
and super fans. And I feel like a person like you, a person like myself, a person like Lisa, shout out to my homie Lisa, who's always at the game, season ticket holders. I didn't have season tickets for the last couple of seasons, but I've had them before. My
Hmm.
boy Kweisi, who helps me out, season ticket holder. I feel like we're the real essence of the super fan, right? I get
Yeah,
upset sometimes, like when they talk about like a Spike Lee or a Jerry Seinfeld, like, oh, these super fans, and like, really? Why? Because they have the means to be able to go to the big games and sit in the good seats where they could pop up on camera all the
for
time.
Mary Hart for the Dodgers.
Right. Who's
Yeah.
always right behind home plate. Like, no. We are the ones that sacrifice our hard earned money.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are there on a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night when they're nowhere to be found. You know what I'm saying? And we sacrifice our time and have to wake up late the next day and go to work. Like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, we're the super fan. Josh
Yeah.
is the super fan.
And like, my plan is a Saturday plan. So, luckily this year, because of what Steve Cohen had called out us on, it was a lot easier for me to sell some of my tickets when I couldn't make it. But there were times where like I was invited to hang out with friends and go to birthday parties. And I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. I really want a Juan Soto bobblehead. So maybe I'll meet with you guys afterwards.
Right.
You know?
No, it's funny. Yeah, you sacrifice outings with the family. I
Mhm.
do it all the time. But
Yeah.
my family already knows like this guy's a psycho. We're just not gonna get
Same.
him away from
Same.
there.
Same.
And they deal with it.
Yeah.
And
It was just so
listen, I don't have kids or anything, so it's a little different, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But
Just so disheartening though, with like all the sacrifices that I did this year to go to the games and to know like the end result. I felt like last year it absolutely last year I didn't have season tickets. I still found myself going to the ballpark a lot still. And to your point, like you haven't had season tickets for a while, but you still find yourself at Citi Field.
I was probably at 60 plus games this year and I didn't have season
Oh,
tickets.
that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
so
Yeah.
but yeah, and listen, I don't know if you were there the last weekend and all that with the whole celebration of thank you fans, over 3 million fans, and I'm sitting there, I'm just nuts. Every time this stuff comes up on a big screen and all of that, I'm like, thank you. Thank us with a comeback. Thank us with a win. Like thank us by not losing 2 or 3 to the Nats. How about you thank us like that?
Already like saying their goodbyes before clinching. It's like maybe like it kind of had a tone like they knew what was coming.
Right.
Was it just me or did it kind of feel that way?
No, I didn't think of it like at that time like that. But here when you say that now, maybe they did. Although they were telling us otherwise. No, they kept telling us otherwise. Yeah, no,
Season
we're gonna get
tickets on SNY. But yeah, I mean, so a little bit of like an insider information, not that I know anything or talk to reporters or call WFAN, but like through my neighborhood that I live in Bayside, Queens. I did hear some murmurs at the beginning of the season that they overhauled their staff. Now, kind of like what they did to the coaching staff just now, but just like their internal people who had worked for the Mets for a long time, just kind of like did like a full facelift or whatever, or do over.
right.
And I do kind of feel like it's like a bit of a different fan experience this year. I think, with $5 Tuesdays, like it's nice that they offer that incentive, but like, my guy, I don't want to be waiting like 2 innings on a concession stand line for a $5, like and missing
Right.
the game. I also kind of personally had like an incident where they charged my friend for the wrong amount, I was buying food for my friend and they charged my friend and then they charged me, and like the cashier was very uncooperative when I was trying to explain what happened. She had to call a manager, blah blah blah. It was like a whole big thing. Like I just feel like sometimes the staff, and I know that they're really hardworking people, but sometimes like the staff isn't really like fully equipped for like the volume that Steve Cohen wanted to bring in. The parking attendants too, like that, the traffic getting out of there has been getting worse and worse significantly.
Yeah, but the parking situation, sometimes I wonder if they purposely create traffic. Like the way that they set that up and they force people out only one way and
Yeah.
onto a certain street is ridiculous to me. Thankfully, I don't park in the lots. I don't know how long that's gonna last with all the development going on, but yeah, I take a chance and I park outside, and I thankfully don't have to deal with that. But even getting in, yeah, it's
Yeah, but
insane.
some people don't have a choice. Like,
No,
you
of
know,
course.
I complain on Twitter about like, you know, getting in line and like, you know, the long lines and stuff like that. They're like, well, take the subway. I'm like, well, there are times where I don't have a choice. Not to get too much into my personal life, but like, you know, I have a family member in need that can't take public transportation. So like,
That's
you
it.
know, especially next year, I plan on taking my 16-month-old nephew for his first game. And, you know, it would be nice to have the car there to kind of like, if he grows to be a little impatient and won't last all 9 innings, that we could have a quick getaway.
Right.
So like, you know, I just kind of feel like the infrastructure can be, and the flow of traffic, just foot traffic and car traffic, can be improved upon a little bit. But this is how you know that this is like a sign of like a terrible season too, because like I saw a thread like maybe about a month ago that like people were going on a tirade about like the dancers and there was too many sound effects and blah blah blah. So like now that you're not able to watch the product on the field, you're micromanaging all the things around you. And I was about to lose it because that one game, when I posted my first video, so it was September 13th. So it was the alumni game. I think
Yes.
that game, somebody was actually booing the Queen's Crew dancers.
Really.
Yeah,
I was there that day, but I missed that. But
I
it doesn't surprise me.
I'm close friends with a professional dancer. I like they are hardworking people like that. That pisses me off so much.
I mean,
And
listen, when they first introduced it a couple of years ago, I had fun. Like, what the heck is this? And I'm one of those people that I do have fun sometimes, and I'm like, I go here for a ball game. I don't care about all the other
but not
nonsense.
everybody does. But not everybody does.
Yeah, no, and you're
The
right. And sometimes
ballpark experience is different for everybody.
right,
So
right.
just because it's not, I know that we're, you know, the Spike Lees, the Mary Harts, and we're there every night. Like, you know, we're
For
already
a ball game.
in this. Like,
Yeah.
they want to attract more people to make it fun for more people. So, like, you know, like
Those
I've
people
never
annoy
been.
me sometimes, Jocelyn. Those people annoy me sometimes. Those are the people that you're at the stadium and they're having all the conversation that has nothing to do with the game. They don't even know who the heck we're playing. They don't know what the score is. They're walking out the game after the game and like, who won?
But they have
Those
the
people
right to be.
drive me insane. But I
They have
get it. I
the right
get
to
it.
be. They
Yeah,
have the right to be there. Like,
they
you know,
do.
I've gone to FDNY, NYPD hockey games, like volunteer hockey games. I went to the NYPD FDNY. Like, I don't know anybody in that team, but like, I still go there.
No, but that's different. But you're
Like,
going. That's a little bit different. But I get it. I get it. I get it.
yeah. But anyway,
Um.
that's just a sign of how bad the season was.
Oh yeah,
Because
we were
now
complaining
with
about
my
everything else.
fan experience, my
Yeah.
one last thought, the block party music is way too loud. Like, I'm sorry.
Too
I can't
loud.
even hear myself think.
Yeah.
And I was on an Instagram live with Vintage Mets. Well, I was watching the Instagram.
Shout out to my guy Los.
Yeah, Carlos
Yes.
with Vintage Mets. And somebody there brought up a really good point. That's like they're promoting the hell out of the Saturday block party, but then they have these giveaways where you have to be first in line.
Makes no sense. I told Quay, like this makes no sense. How you have a block party, but you got to be online if you want any chance of getting a giveaway. A lot of the times, like while the black party's going on, you can't even enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah. So that should be something that changes. And actually, no, that wasn't my last thought. I have one more last thought. Could it just kill them to have a turkey sandwich in there? Like, do I have to get like do I have to spike up my cholesterol every time I'm there? Trust me, it's very hard not to. It's very hard to tempt Shake Shack and the pizza. Like the food's all delicious, but when you're there every week, sometimes like I just
Yeah,
want
I get it.
I just want something light. I just don't want.
There's no. I'm surprised there's no turkey sandwich there. I'm not.
I know of. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're probably right. I don't think I've seen anything like that.
Yeah, like the bubble
That I
tea, Thai food. That's all great. Again, not for me because I have access to that where I live in Bayside, and like I appreciate that they're bringing Queens culture within the cuisine of the food. But like, I just sometimes I just need a turkey sandwich. I just need something healthy, please.
right. Shout out to my homie Kristen who agrees with you and says that she never gets a chance to check out the parties or anything going on because she's always online
Yeah,
trying to go get the giveaway.
I have
Black party for what?
a problem. I'm always in line for a giveaway. I
Yeah.
go to the
Well,
last weekend series of the season.
yeah.
That, yeah, that was
I won't say it here, but once we're done, I'll give you a tip. I don't know if you're up to it, where it's a little easier for the giveaways than just staying right at the
we'll
rotunda.
talk
But
closer
anyways,
to the season because I know by the time Christmas rolls around, I'll forget.
no, I got you. I got you. Um, and you're like you've been perfect for blunt thoughts because blunt thoughts is all over the place, right? We go from one topic to another. We try to follow a path, and you kind of like got into a little bit what I wanted to ask you about, which is like the fan experience, right? Um, but before that, how did Jocelyn become a Mets fan?
So
And a big sports fan, not just a Mets fan, because from the looks of it, you're a
no,
big sports
it's
fan.
like 80% of my sports fandom, maybe even 90, is the Mets. Like it. That's I became a Jets fan because of their correlation with the Mets and that they both played at Shea Stadium. Uh, my brother grew up a Rangers fans and he played hockey as a kid, so like I kind of like tagged onto his coattails. With the Knicks, I'm a bit of a bandwagoner. I didn't start following them until post pandemic.
Okay.
So I mean, I own it, but like the Knicks Twitter community has been really welcoming, and they've been great people, and they love that I came on board. But the way I became a Met,
Shout out to the toxic Knicks Twitter community.
yes, I love being a part of it. Um, so my family, I have two older brothers. They moved here from Guatemala in 1986. So New York
Okay.
City, Mets town. And throughout the late 80s, early 90s. So they moved in 86. I was born in 87, so it was 1 year removed from actually witnessing a World Series for the Mets.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
um, my dad got tickets to watch Met games from his job, so he would always take my brothers. I think he just kind of assumed that like I wouldn't be like interested, given that I was like the only girl in the family. And then my brothers would watch it on TV, and then I would start watching, and then like it really went, overboard when the Mets made it to the World Series in the year 2000. So we know what happened, but I decided that year that that was going to be the team that I follow, and I've been following ever since.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I don't know if it's good or bad. Was actually old enough to witness the '86 World Series.
Hmm.
I was 10 years old, so I do remember it. Not in detail, and obviously you go back and you watch, and it refreshes the memories and stuff like that. But I do remember watching it, and yeah, for me it was more my uncle. My uncle, one of my uncles was a Met fan. Everybody
Yeah.
else in my family was like either Yankee fans or wherever the Dominicans
Mhm.
were. Like, let's be honest. That's what it was in my family. Yankee fans or wherever the Dominicans were.
Yeah.
And I had one uncle who was a Met fan, and I loved Gary Carter. Just watching Gary Carter. I used to be a catcher as a kid,
Oh,
and
nice.
then Darryl Strawberry, and so on and so forth. And when the team wins and they were dominating the city, it was easy to be a Mets fan. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of what my
And it
brother
just
said.
kept going from there. And then once the Yankees won, it's like when it really was like, I mean, it was always the Mets first, but I didn't have that hatred for the Yankees till probably about 97 is when I really like I cannot stand this team, and it was more about the fans than anything.
Yeah. I think what I what I find interesting is that like people kind of assume that like most female fans that like the fandom was just passed down from their dads, and like my for me it couldn't be any further from the truth because my dad's like really not into sports, oddly enough. But through the years, I grew up hearing stories from my maternal grandfather who passed away when I was 13. He was actually a St. Louis Cardinals fan down in Guatemala, and there was like a joke within my family that he resembled Tommy Lasorda. And my uncle, my maternal uncle from obviously my mom's side, came to New York for the first time this year. So we did take him to Citi Field, and having him around and watching baseball, like, just felt like we've been doing it for years. So I, in my hardest of hearts, believe that like there's always a debate about like what forms you. Is it nature or is it nurture? And in my fandom, I think it's just nature because of like my mom's side of my family being into baseball, and I never grew up being close to them. And then now that I have an experience with them being here, like it just kind of made sense. He loved Citi Field. He loved it. And though like we just kind of like went on a whole tirade about the fan experience and like all the annoying perks about like Citi Field, like having him here and experiencing his first Major League Baseball game, like really just made me feel like how blessed I am to like go whenever I want, and how blessed we are to go whenever we want.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
sometimes I think we do lose sight of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For some people, like you said, it's their only time at the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So who am I to, judge why they're there, what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy? Like I'm all about the wins and losses. I'm
Mm-hmm.
all about the wins and losses. And sometimes I'm at the stadium and here comes Edwin Diaz. And I'm like, why the hell are we using Edwin Diaz now? He has no business in the game. And here's somebody who say, hey, no, it's my only time here. I never get to see the trumpets, the whole entrance. And I'm like, you know what?
Okay.
Okay. Other times where people are like, oh my gosh, it's my only time here. And I'm not going to be able to see Edwin Diaz because.
You know what, Hector? I much rather have a casual Mets fan at Citi Field experiencing Citi Field than these like fugazi people that wear Yankee hats that probably have never even watched a baseball game ever in their lives, but they wear a Yankee hat because it's fashion.
Yeah.
One of my cousins in Guatemala, so he married a man from Mexico, and they were sightseeing, and I called him out because he wore a Yankee hat. And I'm like, excuse me, like, Geraldito, like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm sorry, it's my husband's. I'm like, I'm gonna have to meet your husband and have a talk with him because we like our family does not wear Mets hats, but like just goes to show you our family does not wear Yankee hats, but just goes to show you that like the Yankee hat is like a fashion statement rather than
Right. Yeah. No. Worse is, and I have one particular friend like this. Shout out to my boy Daryl, bro, who wears Yankee hats, but he's a Met fan for the fashion. And I'm like,
drive
dude,
me crazy.
that's like unacceptable. Like, how can we do that? But
Yeah.
whatever. It
Yeah.
is what it is. But believe it or not, I actually ran into you say that. I actually ran into someone one day who actually had a Mets hat on, right? And I don't expect that to be from someone wearing a Mets hat. Yeah, you expected someone wearing a Yankee hat is just wearing it for fashion and may have never watched baseball in their life. Well, that's exactly what I got with the guy from the Met hat. As I'm, and I think I was at a doctor's appointment. We're in the waiting area. See the, I'm like, let's go Mets. He's like, huh? And I'm like, dude, your hat.
But
And he's like, what's that, Mets? I'm like, oh my god. What do you
this
mean?
might
And
lead
he's like, no, my family gave me this. I never watched baseball in my life. I'm like, you're Spanish. What are we doing here?
you know what? That's probably I mean, he's probably not like the most popular person right now, but I think that just goes to show that that's the Steve Cohen effect.
Well,
Because
it was during Steve Cohen. Yeah, this is like a year and a
yeah,
half ago or so.
it's like I think prior to him taking over as owner, like, I've lived through the '07 and '08 collapses. And I think the '08 collapse, I literally almost like completely gave up on the fandom, like altogether. I was at the Tom Glavine start in 2007, and I arrived at the second inning.
Oh God.
And I was at the Johan Santana game in '08, and I just like could not handle the pain anymore. And that kind of led me to like the video, because it was like, it was just so helpless that like nothing was ever going to change with this team. But I think with what happened this year, and maybe because it was like a slower fall from grace and it wasn't like so sudden like it was in '07 and '08.
Yeah, and I
I
did hear you
know that
mention that in your
it's
video.
coming. Like, I know that the owner's not going to, I know that Cohen's not going to stand for this. And like, back to '07 and '08, I was like, I didn't want to wear my Mets stuff. I was like embarrassed. I was just like, I cannot not believe that this was the team that I chose. But now it's just kind of like, okay, this fucking sucks. I'm going to eat crow for the rest of the offseason. My fans, Philly fans, Braves fans, every fan that hates the Mets. But at least I know my owner's worth $13 billion. He's going to make it right.
Yeah, well, at least we hope so.
He will.
Well, listen, he can only do so much, right? He can provide the resources and all that. Now we gotta hope Mr. Stearns makes it right.
Right. So I can't take credit for this stat. So this was on the Barstool podcast back in 2020 when Cohen took over. Their co-host, Justin Clemenza of the Clem Report, shared a really interesting statistic of baseball teams changing ownership groups. So if you look at the history of the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and the Chicago Cubs, you can see when they changed owners, just how their franchises changed. I think with the Cubs, they won the World Series in 2017, and their new owners came in 2012. Boston Red Sox won in '04, and their new owners came in 2002, I think. And the LA Dodgers had new ownership in 2012, and then have seen consistent winning since.
Right.
Their new ownership. So like, we're old enough to remember that like the Cubs had the curse of the GOAT, or Red Sox had a curse. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, and that's why it bothers me that, oh, we're cursed. It's not a curse. It's just bad ownership.
Bad ownership, bad management, and many times. I felt like bad moves, maybe investing in the wrong guys when you had very little to invest and very small margin for error, which we don't have now, fortunately. And that's what we need to, David Stearns needs to learn. You don't have that small margin for error that we had as the Mets and you had as the Milwaukee Brewers before. You can deviate from your comfort zone a little bit.
I think he's just too caught up on analytics. And kind of just sees players based on their stats and like not really like getting a feel for like chemistry and clubhouse vibes, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. It's going to be interesting next year, because we went from one year where every move that was made went for the better, and now it was every move that they made went for the worst. And people were saying like, oh, well, 2004 was a fluke. And I'm like, okay, how are we so sure that that was the fluke, but this past year wasn't the fluke? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. And you know what? Let's stay on that. Again, we're going to be all over the place. And you just led us to David Stearns. And I guess you kind of just told us, but what is your overview? There's a lot of people that are already out on Stearns and maybe wanted him even fired after this season. And I'm like, ooh, that's a little, I think, quick.
I think in the heat of the moment, I felt that way. Look, I don't think a sustainable team is built by rotating managers, rotating GMs, like rotating it and getting it done like in one shot. That's what makes me nervous about the Knicks, actually, about the new head coach, but that's another topic. I think in the heat of the moment, I wanted him fired just because I was just so aggravated about every move going wrong. But I think what they really do, though, is that they need a GM, because he's the president of baseball operations, and like we haven't had a GM in a couple of years now, right?
Yes, I mean, since he took over, for sure.
Yeah.
Billy Epler was the GM.
Mm-hmm.
He took over as the president of baseball operations. Billy Epler was supposed to stay as the GM and then said, "Nah, see ya. I don't want any part of this," or whatever the hell happened there. Now, the only thing with that for me is I think sometimes we get caught on the title maybe a little bit too much, because in a lot of ways, the president of baseball operations is just a new GM. It's just a new name for the GM. How many teams do really have a president of baseball operations, right? Not many. It's a new thing. And it's not as if he doesn't have assistant GMs all over the place. And guys, it's just that there's no specific GM. And I'm not saying that it couldn't help to have someone maybe in that position to delegate some duties to and do more of the day-to-day. I don't know. So, and a lot of people keep bringing it up. And at first I was more dismissive about it than I am even now. Not that I'm dismissive about it now. I'm more receptive to it. And I can see why people keep bringing it up. But I also like to point out that it's really more title than anything.
Yeah.
The duties are pretty much the same as when it was only a GM, you know?
I like the comment that Cindy just posted. These comments are going by a little too fast, by the way. I don't have to.
Yeah. I forgot to.
Like,
I told Kweisi to try to like hold off on the comments because we didn't want to distract you. We forgot to like.
No, it's fine. But I want to read them. I want to see what people are saying. Yeah. I agree. It's going to take patience, which is something that like none of us have. But I'm trying my best.
Now, but let me ask you this. Okay, in the heat of the moment, you might have said, "You know what? Get this guy out of here," like we always do, right? That's what we do as fans.
Yeah.
We react. I loved your quote. I forget. I think it was in your first video where you said, and I forget how you got to it, but something along the lines, I don't want to hear about emotions because this whole experience is about emotions.
That was all I was getting when I was defending Pete Alonso all of 2024. Like, stop being so emotionally tied to them. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this whole experience is being emotional. Like,
right.
You know, like I just. I'm sorry, I needed to calm down from that. It just. We have emotional ties to this team, whether it's, your uncle that got you into it, me with like it's how I connect with my brothers, like there are players that we're emotional towards. Like, I love Pete Alonso. I can get into this now if you want.
No, we're going to get into Pete Alonso, but what I was going to say is like, what I was going to ask you is, well, if we put aside the emotions and the frustration, like, what's your overall thought on David Stearns? Do you think, because I'll be honest, even before we got him and everybody kept saying David Stearns, and Steve Cohen is waiting for David Stearns, and look what David Stearns, the whole famous, look what David Stearns has done with no money, imagine now with money, and I'm like, okay, how do we know like that's going to translate? He needs to learn how to operate with money. So my question is, do you believe though in what he's done and him being able to translate that and incorporate now?
I guess my simple answer is that I don't know. Like I don't know because of like what we've seen. I mean, it's great to see what he's done with the Brewers. So like he's doing something right. Again, to what I said before, I think he gets too caught up on analytics and doesn't really get a feel of the game and chemistry and whatnot. Or I don't know if that's just how he presents himself to the media.
Well, I've read stuff like that about him even before we got him, that he was like he doesn't show emotion. He's Seems
Yeah,
like a very
which is
detached
so
person. He
funny.
doesn't build like relationships and stuff like that. That's just
After
stuff that I've read.
talking about how this whole experience is emotional, it's funny to me because like I don't mind that about him. Like to me, he's a businessman. Like he sees players as transactions, and that's how he speaks to it to the media. I feel like people were kind of like pissed off at like the tone that he took, and I don't know. Like, did you expect him to go, go on his knees and beg for Met fan forgiveness? Like, no. Like,
Or to even like say this guy sucks, that guy sucks, that guy sucks.
yeah,
We're
like
gonna read it like
he's a businessman. He's professional. Like, this is his job. Like, to us, it's not a business transaction because we're emotionally tied to that, and I don't really know why we think he needs to be emotional when it comes to addressing the media. Like, that's like the one thing about like the fandom that I don't understand. Like if there's like a quote taken out of context, like, oh, he should have said this, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I don't know.
no, real quick to that comment by Amizi. Yeah, he inherited the roster, majority of the roster, but he also took responsibility and said, it's been plenty of time for me to shape the roster the way that I'd like. Andy Martino, everybody's favorite Mets reporter, actually tried to give him that out in his closing press conference after the season press conference.
But like also
and
like
he totally dismissed that and said, no,
yeah.
I've had a chance to
But every
shape the
trade
roster.
he
I'm
did this
responsible.
year was for the worse. Like Cedric Mullins, Helsley, I mean, I guess signing Jose Siri wasn't like it wasn't David Stern's fault that Jose Siri was injured for most of the season, but like re-signing Manaea, like every signing he did this year went wrong. So like yeah, he inherited a roster, but like the adjustments that he made to the roster that fell under him made the team worse.
Right. And to be fair, a guy like Manaea, I think most Met fans wanted back.
Yeah.
Maybe shouldn't have counted on either him or Senga being our ace. Excuse me. But that's a whole totally different story there. Let me ask you this because again, this is born and we'll get to the whole Griffin Canning thing eventually. I actually thought about starting with that, but we're just flowing. That's not,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, in almost 40 minutes, and I got so much stuff that I'm like, but we probably won't get to all of it. Anyways,
Okay, sorry.
No, you good. This is perfect. Again, the first video you did also caught my attention because you brought up the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And not only the chemistry, you actually brought up by name Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto. And it's something that I had brought up. I actually had someone who's been coming after me because I talked about stuff like that. And it's like, are we not watching the same thing? And yeah, how come we never see these guys together in the dugout? How come Juan Soto didn't immediately take to taking the photo or take to doing the fifth celebration and so on and so forth? And I would bring these things up, and people, who cares? Look at his numbers and look at this. But to me, it's like, no, that stuff matters.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the end all be all, right? And what comes first? Does chemistry come first or does winning? But I don't know. I think on a team that is struggling the way that the Mets struggled, if there's maybe a little bit more chemistry, maybe you're able to come out of that a little bit easier. And maybe you don't stay stuck in it the way that they unfortunately did for most of the damn season. But yeah, so you're someone, and you've brought it up a couple of times, so obviously you think it's important.
I'm glad that it kind of came to the light after I posted that video because Disha Thosar wrote the article about like how Juan Soto had to adjust during his first year, and then apparently there was like an article from The Athletic, which I didn't see, but I heard them talking about it on WFAN, where it pretty much validates that there isn't a chemistry issue and that the chemistry that the team had in 2004 was just like too hard to topple, like too hard to like achieve. It was kind of an unrealistic expectation to have a baseball team have a baseball team be led to that type of chemistry. I just like overall, now that I had time to digest about like the Juan Soto Lindor probably not liking each other, like we have no choice. They have no choice because they're both in it for the long run. But like I think now more than ever, and I really hope that they take this into next season. Like, and I said this in my second video, we had a target on our backs the entire season. We have the most, yeah, exactly. Jordan and Pippen hated each other in the 1986 team. Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez didn't like each other either. Gary Carter, sorry. I just feel like, with the bullshit that the Marlins pulled with like putting Sandy Alcantara that Friday night game, having the highest payroll, like poaching Juan Soto, like Juan Soto being booed in like San Diego and every other visiting ballpark, like no one really understood. Like I kind of just feel like it's low hanging fruit to like fall into the LOL Mets narrative, and like there was kind of like there were people that were like praying for our downfall. And I feel like the team was completely oblivious to that. And like I said, like I don't mind Lindor kind of like befriending like people from other teams, but like he's known as like the nice guy, Mr. Smile, like yada yada yada. Like he did the thumbs up down to the fans, but like where was like that spiciness to like the other players? Like where was when he was doing the oh my god to I forgot like which visiting bullpen was it, like the Phillies when he did that, or Nimmo sticking his tongue out at Michael Harris from the Braves? Like where is that side of these guys? Like where are they?
Yeah, no. What the hell's going on? Yeah, I don't know, and I've been trying to think about that, and I have an idea. Obviously these guys got too comfortable, but just on the Lindor Soto thing, I'm not sure that I'm gonna go out and say, oh, they don't like each other. You know what I mean? Like,
There's
gosh,
something there. There's
I
something.
I think it's more they're like opposite personalities, right? Soto is like all baseball all the time, like focused on baseball. Lindor's more, loose party, like not party, wrong. I apologize. I didn't mean that, but more loose, more involved in outside things. It seems like we need the new balance thing and the gloves and that, and so I just think it's more of a personality thing, more that they don't like each other. But it does seem odd that they like it never seemed to even have
Be
small
together
talk
like
on the bench.
a fun high five, like nothing.
Yeah, and it frustrated me because every time I try to bring it up, people would dismiss it. You've brought up WFAN a couple of times. I'm someone who calls WFAN a lot, and not as much as I used to. And I called early on in the season, and I brought it up. And my boy Sal
No,
was like,
so
"Oh, Sal dismissed, like, oh, who cares?" And I'm like, "No, this stuff matters." So, like you, when it finally came out at the end of the season, and Disha throws over the story, and the story, I was like, "Okay, here we go. Now what?" Now that they're saying that something was there. Now you're gonna keep saying that I was just making things up, or no?
yeah,
Like,
obviously it's going to be a story at the end of the season, given the way that the chips fell. Dolo Supreme, Juan Soto has a handshake with Pete Alonso. Like he gets along with Pete, and if anything, he was vouching for Pete to sign for the Mets because he wanted the protection in the lineup. So, that's not true. The problem was with, if he had a problem, it was with Lindor.
yeah, no, yeah. But even at the end, we saw what he was doing the handshake with Pete. At first, I like even the whole thing where he would just run straight to the dugout if he was on base and somebody hit a home run. It was like, dude, what the heck is that? Like we never saw that. The
Yeah.
fact that we never saw the shuffle, the way that we saw it when he was in San Diego and Washington or on the Yankees, like I I can remember off the top of my head plenty of times where I saw him and Judge at the top of the dugout hanging, talking and stuff during the game. None of that. The only people that sort of talked during the game to was Starlin Marte, Ronnie Mauricio, and then Jose Siri when he finally joined the team at the end of the season, or Acuna when he was around. It was always that little corner of the dugout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, dude.
Yeah, Cindy, I agree with you. Maybe Soto thought that after signing the mega contract, that he needed to carry himself more professionally. That could be it. Like, I'm not really too reading into deeply about how he acted at the beginning of the season because the numbers speak for themselves, and um he did his part to become a better player between like his stolen bases. Like, yeah, I know he didn't have his moment, but the numbers were there. I'm not really concerned about him coming into next year, but regardless of which, like, I'm not saying that him and Lindor need to braid each other's hair, but they got to figure something out to kind of like become the leaders of the team if they have to step up and be the leaders of the team, even if they have different leadership styles.
Right. And I think that's where it goes to something that you've alluded to a couple of times, and is the fact that David Stearns is numbers, 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 and sometimes ignores the human element of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know he had that issue in Milwaukee where when he traded, I think it was Josh Hader, and the clubhouse hated it, and they didn't react too well to it. And you would think he learned from that a little bit. And I think, listen, I was one of the first people saying every season writes a story, right? So we cannot expect the 2024 Mets and the OMG and Grimace and whatever else you want to attach to the good vibes of 2024 to come back in 2025.
Yeah.
Right? The 2025 is going to write his own story. But I also did feel like maybe Jose Iglesias, numbers wise and on the field, and it really didn't make sense to bring him back when you looked at we want to play the young guys. We want to give Vientos, whoever the hell, a chance at third base and second base and so on and so forth. But when you have a guy who is telling you, I want to be part of leading this team and helping Francisco Lindor be a leader, like those things were screaming to me. And obviously, David Stearns didn't hear them.
This is what
and
Jose
we saw that missing, because I say that to say maybe when Iglesias is there, he helps to bring Soto and Lindor a little bit better together.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't even think about
I thought he was huge. I said this a lot last year, Jocelyn. Obviously, we know the incident with Lindor and McNeil, right? And they got over that and they learned to coexist. But before Iglesias got there, do you think that Jeff McNeil and Francisco Lindor ever had a non-baseball conversation, or even just laughed about something that had nothing to do with baseball? I'm pretty sure not. And
I don't know. I mean,
when Iglesias is there, you see McNeil
that.
dancing, you see McNeil this. These are the things that we never saw out of Jeff McNeil. You know, we happy Jeff was born.
Let's not forget that during that press conference that they hugged each other in front of the media to kind of like be like, sorry.
But
no, but it was like
that's
you're
more like
around,
we have to do this, you know?
Like, okay, not that it's the same, and I don't want to hear because it's like I'm a woman, we're emotional. Like one time I screamed at when I lived with a roommate. One time I screamed at her because like I just like snapped. But then we were totally fine the next day and learned how to coexist because we lived together. I went to her wedding, like you went to her baby shower, this and that. Like when you're around people for I don't know how many hours a day for 162 days in a row or whatever, like it's gonna happen. And it's sad that that's the way that it went down, but it's not going to be the first time.
Things can go different ways, right? You could have a situation like that, and you can a relationship, a friendship can grow from that, right? And you learn to respect each other, and that can become a best friend or a very good friend, or you can learn to coexist because we have to.
Yeah,
and we spend more time in here than we do with our families, but that's all it is. We're teammates. Yeah, we'll talk about baseball. We'll talk about signals, you know, whatever, wear the cover, but that's it. You know,
Yeah.
I think when you have someone like Iglesias, you break that barrier and you have just senseless conversation, but stuff that helps you to just come with a better attitude. Another thing that I feel like that was missing, we bring up an Iglesias, right? This was a guy who felt disrespected by Major League Baseball, right? He even a little bit felt disrespected by the Mets and how his beginning of his tenure. He talked about this, right? So he obviously had a chip on his shoulder. He played with that chip, and this goes to what you're talking about. We didn't
Yeah.
seem to have that edge this year, right? He played with that chip on his
Yeah.
shoulder. You had a guy like Mark Vientos, who
Mhm.
we felt earned a job out of spring training
Yeah.
and was not given that job and was sent down, was brought up for a weekend, hits a walk-off home run, gets sent back down. He comes back up. He has a chip on his shoulder, right? And so on and so forth. We didn't have any of that.
No.
Mark
No.
Vientos was comfortable. He said it himself. He didn't think he was going to go through any struggles. Well, you did, buddy. Bad ones, and was never able to bring back the vibes. The vibes got to be born on their own. Flip. Shout out
Yeah.
to my guy, Master Flip. The vibes got to be born on their own, brother. That's what I mean. Like every year writes his own story, and obviously nobody likes the story of the 2025 Mets. Nobody likes it. The 2025 Mets story is horrible. The 2024 was beautiful. 2026, we have no idea. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, it's a better one than 2025. Hopefully, it's a better one than we've had in 40 years.
For real.
You know, hopefully, it's the best story
Back
that is written so far.
Bring back Pete.
Bring
and
back
Edwin.
Pete. Bring back
And-
Pete and Edwin. Okay. Let's go to that as we got to try to wrap this up. I promised Jocelyn behind the scene, guys, that I would get her out of here and ready to go to bed by 9, and it's 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
But we did start a little bit late. We were 51 minutes in. We're going to try to keep this as close to an hour as possible. So your thoughts on Pete, the whole Pete situation, and how did you feel about the Pete Alonso when he answered, in my opinion, the question 5 minutes into his post-game presser after the last game of the
He
season?
was asked the question. This is what the media does. Like, I still cannot understand why the fans don't see that the media manipulates players into giving answers and they write headlines to get a rise out of us. Like, that's literally what their jobs are.
I hated the fact that came out like, oh, Pete is opting out. Pete, like as if he came out and volunteered that information, or like if that was the theme of his press conference, when it wasn't.
Yeah, and everybody fell for it. Like, no one thought to do their own research and to see the context, and it was a way to kick us while we were already down. I mean, obviously he had a plan the whole time. Like, this was a prove it year for him because he struggled last off season. So he built his numbers back up. I mean, defensively, I know that he's a liability. He was working on his defense, and he had a great defensive plays a lot in 2024. But I think overall, like, the team just went down. Maybe it was like a comfort level where, to your point, where they weren't making these plays that were kind of like second nature to them otherwise.
Yeah.
But you have to sign him back. Like, you just have. Where are you going to find someone? How many home runs did he have this year? Like 48? 38 home runs. Like, where are you going to find a power hitter like that? Like, power hitting first baseman. I don't think we want Mark Vientos playing first. Like, I just like how I love Pete Alonso so much. Like, I think just like with everything that he's done for the franchise, Dolo, you thought that Lindor you thought that Soto didn't like Pete, so I don't think you know what you're talking about, saying that Pete's a goner. Get out of here with that shit.
Blood thoughts, baby.
Yeah. Like, I think with everything that he's done for the franchise and breaking the home run record and embracing New York, and he capitalized on his opportunity immediately when he was a rookie, and never looked back. And he's just like the type of guy that like brings out my inner child, like because he's just somebody that hit you when you good lords. But are you trying to piss me off with these like are you guys like all actively trying to piss me? Let's just not even post these comments because it's just gonna get me going. For real. He's just someone that just brings out my inner child, and you see his love and his passion in what he does every day. When he puts on the Mets uniform. I don't know if you've been seeing that, like someone already photoshopped him in a Red Sox
Oh
uniform.
God, no! I did
Pretty
not see
sure.
that.
I'm pretty sure the Yankee fans are kind of like, you know, looking over their shoulder right now, kind of like wanting to, you know, give it back to us for taking Juan Soto away from them. And I know that the Yankees need a first baseman. Like, do whatever it takes, re-sign him, please. End of story. Keith Hernandez said it himself.
Right.
Keith Hernandez is quoted saying that David Stearns has to re-sign Pete Alonso.
Right. So you're definitely on the bring Pete back, because I know in your video you said, "Oh, I'm resigned to the fact that Pete won't come back," but I know that was more you felt like Pete is just not a David Stearns guy, and I agree with you. I feel like Pete wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of Cohen.
If you read between the lines, and I had to correct somebody that was on my comment section today. He said, "I love Pete. I want him to go back." If you read between the lines of what he said, he kind of is hinting that he wants Pete Alonso to be a DH, which I think we have to be open to. Because someone like wrote in my comment that he's like, oh, that tweet's gonna hit when he signs on with the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, my guy, like they just signed Vlad Guerrero to like a record-breaking contract,
Yeah,
like
400, whatever the hell.
Like, do you not know that? Like, I don't know why he's at Toronto. I don't know. Because I don't think he's going to want to be a DH, but I don't know if any other teams are going to give him the option to play first base. Maybe the Yankees might, but like, we can't let that happen. We just can't.
Yeah, no, I've been adamant. I was adamant last year. I was adamant all off season. I did video upon video, stream upon stream about sign Pete. I am one that feels
as a person.
I'm sorry, say that again.
If anybody does not want Pete Alonso back, like I legit judge him as a person.
There's a lot of people out there.
Yeah, I just like.
There's a lot of people out there. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Like,
I don't get it either. Don't get too emotionally attached.
Pete is the guy
that's the person that's like cursing out David Stearns in the comment section on Twitter.
Right. No, and it's like Pete is the only player that was not allowed to turn down the first offer that was given to him, like that 7 years, whatever the heck it was that he turned down. Like he was supposed to accept that. He was then supposed to accept the 3-year bullcrap offer that Stearns threw at him. Like, no, why? Oh, because the market. To hell with the market. To hell with the market. You know what the player is. It's obvious that he means more to the Mets than he would to any other team if he means anything to the Mets. We know that. But Pete is not a bad player. Pete is a guy who's been good in the community, who's embraced the community.
Mm-hmm.
Pete is the guy who donated his first big check that he won at the home run derby to 9/11 related charities.
Mm-hmm.
Pete plays every damn day. Pete is a guy who last season got hit in the hand and was diagnosed to be out like 15 days and came back within like 7 days.
He survived a car accident too. Do you remember when like his car flipped over during spring training like 2 or 3 years ago?
You know, I thought about that.
Guy's he's a fucking Superman.
I thought about that for
someone like that.
I thought about that for all the wrong reasons a few weeks back, because I saw him driving out of the lot and I was like, damn, Pete, no wonder you got in an accident. But anyways.
It was the other fault, according to the police report, though.
I know. But when I saw, I questioned all of that. But anyways, shut up, Hector. But no, we want Pete back. Pete deserves to be back. I don't give a damn what the contract is.
It's
obviously I want to be responsible. I want to
and look,
8 years, 9 years. No,
go real deep here, and to why I also like am just like dying on this hill and holding on to it. The last player homegrown Met that I was deeply in love with was Jacob deGrom, and he signed with the Texas Rangers the day after my cousin passed away. So that hurt really badly.
I bet.
And I don't want to experience anything like that ever again.
No, and I hope you don't. And you brought that up, and I'm sorry because I meant to offer my condolences from your last video. But
Oh,
you're funny. You're
yeah.
funny. You're so funny because you said to start that video, I was at a real wake today, not
Yeah.
the Mets. I
It's-
could not stop
it-
laughing.
it
And
was
it wasn't
for my-
funny, right? Because it was so real, but it was hilarious at the same time. And you took that same tone, and
No, it was a friend of mine. It was a friend's father. No, I'm not. Nothing to my family. I just went there to
right,
pay my
okay,
respects, and to be there for my friend. And
right.
whose father passed away was like, "Oh, Jocelyn, sorry for your loss."
Yeah, I know. Like, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Only
Where is Jocelyn Carlos Mendoza? Should he have been fired? Are you okay with him coming back?
I don't
Is
think
he on
with
the
him
hot
coming
seat?
back, but yeah, let's keep him on a tight leash. Because I think, again, it was like every decision he made in 2024 was like he had a great sense of the game, and every button he pressed worked. And then last year it was like complete opposite. But then again, the roster he was given and the pitching rotation, like the starting rotation that he was given was also not great. So let's see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see who is hired within the coaching staff. Definitely was a bit of
Were
surprise.
you okay with them making those moves?
I was surprised at Jeremy Hefner. But like, I feel like his time has come. Like he's done great things for the organization. Like he was a pitching coach during the DeGrom era, and he's done a lot of wonderful things. But like, I think sometimes you just, if somebody sits in a chair for too long, like, there's a reason why there's term limits, like with presidencies, all gets followed in 2028. But yeah, like, shakeups like this need to happen.
To that, as I'm trying to like get through these quick now, and I that right, like I put out a post like responding to the fact that Kevin Long is going to be a free agent, hitting coach for the Phillies right now. Used to be our hitting coach, Nationals, all that good stuff, and I was like, ooh, bring him back. Oh, not even. It wasn't that one. It was a post. Anyway, the point is, I brought up Edgardo Alfonso, and I was like, oh, when they said that Mike Scarborough was being let go, and I was like, oh, how about a guy like Fonzie, because he was in charge of the infield. Fonzie could be in charge of the infield. Bring him onto the staff, and right away, oh, you guys, you won a former man, and that shows you're not. And I'm like, dude, like just relax.
But
Can we freaking relax?
all that he won the championship with the Brooklyn Cyclones when he was in
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He has managerial experience. It's not like we're just pulling out old names just for the sake of pulling out old names.
Right, because it's a Mets connection. But my question is, do you have anyone that you would like to see added to the staff? Not that it really matters,
Really like looked into any of this deeply. Watching some of listening to some of Evan Roberts' content. And I think he mentioned this on WFAN and in his Rigo Bronia that he would like to see Beltran and Willie Randolph be involved. Right. I think like with Beltran being the bench coach, or no, Randolph being the bench coach. I forget who, but essentially saying whoever.
Yeah, he was saying this before these guys even got fired.
Yeah. Um, whoever has to be the bench coach would probably be the next in line to be the interim manager should Mendoza get fired mid-season. So I think that's kind of like important to look at too.
Absolutely. Although for me, I think the bench coach is very important, and I think it shouldn't be someone that Carlos Mendoza fears he has to look over his back for, right?
Yeah,
And that's why I feel like he should be highly involved in the hiring process of all these coaches,
I agree.
because I feel like now that we're at this point here, because this is my whole thing. This is my, and obviously I'm a Mendoza fan. I'm a Mendoza fan. I wasn't, not that I wasn't at first when we first hired him. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? This is Luis Rojas all over again. He's just coming from the Yankees,
Yeah,
right? Mine came to
that
the
was
minors, and all the nonsense, right? I wasn't an experienced manager. Um, David Stearns, you got to prove it to me. But this is what I said to the other people the other day on a space that I was doing. As long as they're in charge, I'm going to root for them to succeed. Because
yeah.
if they succeed, we succeed. And if the Mets succeed, which is what I mean when I say we, right? If the Mets succeed, guess what? We're happy. And this is a different stream than what we're doing right now. And maybe we're talking about, the next round or whatever case may be. And maybe we're hanging out at the Canyon of Heroes doing a nice kick celebration, which was my dream for 2025. Right. So I'm rooting for them to succeed.
My
So
dream
I need
being
Carlos Mendoza to hire someone as the bench coach that he's able to trust, that when that person says, hey, Carlos, maybe we should do this, he knows that it's for the best interest of the New York Mets and not for the best interest of taking his job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with the bench coach thing. I understand someone that'll push him, but I don't need him to be feeling like he's being pushed out. And if that's what ends up happening, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
If he ends up not being the manager, at the end of the day, I want success, Bobby Wallace. I want success for the New York Mets. If you don't know who Bobby Wallace is, don't worry, you don't want to know. But yeah, that's how I feel about that, and the whole process and how it should go
I mean,
down.
it's going to be a long off season to decide all of that. Obviously, it's going to come after the World Series, but I think you brought up a really good point though about like just kind of being all in. I am curious though about like Carlos Beltran, because like I know he didn't necessarily end in the best of terms, but it looks like Cohen and company did everything to restore all of that. And I found it particularly interesting. This didn't really get talked about, but like he was in the clubhouse celebrating with the guys when the Mets clinched the wild card series last year. Everyone was like talking about like the Pete Alonso home run, and obviously that took the headline and the Harry Rose call and all that. But like it looks like he has like a relationship with like a lot of the players already. So
well,
like
I was saying throughout this season when I had enough, I was saying fire Chavez and bring in Beltran as the interim batting coach. We hear about him giving guys tips all the time. We see him talking to guys behind the batting cage during batting practice and stuff like that. We've heard about conversations with him and Vientos. So bring his ass in here and make him the hitting coach and get Chavez the hell out of here. That's what I wanted to do. That.
Did you fall into any of those rabbit holes on Twitter about Eric Chavez having a burner account?
Yeah, that stuff would come up. I don't pay it too much mind. I had guys that maybe even watching this, my guy Easy Ethan, who was very highly involved with that, and would come into spaces and post the stuff. And
I didn't really dive into it as deeply as I wanted to. But I know people were also kind of like posting some like suspicious like stuff that he would post on his Instagram account and stuff like that. So like, I don't know. If it smells like a duck, acts like a duck.
Right. But I don't know all the details or anything, so I couldn't even comment on it too much because I just don't get involved in that stuff. It's whatever to me. But I just to put a cap on the Beltran thing, I will say this, blunt thought. I don't know if I'm as high on Beltran as everybody else is. Like, I don't know what Beltran is. And people talk like Beltran will come in and then like he's gonna be this great manager. Like, how do we know that? And I laugh sometimes when we talk about analytics and these managers have no feel for the game. And that's Carlos Beltran. He's an analytics guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna follow the analytics. It's not like we're gonna get away from that.
Adjusting to New York also. So like I still don't even know
Yes.
if he embraces his Mets career really,
That's a
or
great point.
us as fans.
I don't embrace or like the way he talks about the fact that he struck out looking when he should have swung the bat. Swing the bat, Carlos. Swing the fucking bat. But anyways, Jocelyn is like this cycle. Get me out of here. Oh my gosh. No. Another thing you mentioned on your video before we get to the final thing, and which caught my attention because it's something that I talk about a lot sometimes, or that I talk about sometimes, and is the difference, the different experience you get interacting with fans on X and at City Field. On X, everybody's irate. Everybody wants to fight. We hate everything. At City Field, it's a different vibe. No, it's a different experience interacting with fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up sitting on the clouds, section 513. So shout out there. Um, no, it's fun. It's fun either way. I've had a lot of positive interactions here, so I don't. I know I highlight a lot of like the negative ones, but like I've met a lot of great people, and like it's kind of nice to kind of like meet.
And I'm sorry, and I don't even mean negative, like in where they take shots at you or anything like that, but just the way that people react.
I know
To
what you mean. I know what you mean. But thanks for reminding me that people take shots. But like I kind of tend to like keep to myself when I'm at the games, to be perfectly honest. Like it really bothers me after the fact when I'll get like a DM like, you thought you were being weird, you were not being weird. Sometimes I'll get a DM like, hey, I saw you at the Hudson Club. Like, hey, you were coming out of the bathroom. That's
oh,
weird. So that's just kind of like, look, if I'm like walking past you, like just
why
be
did I
like,
say
hey.
hello then?
Yeah, just say like, I'll trust me. I won't be awkward if you say hi to me in person and be like, hey, I follow you on Twitter. I'd be like, awesome. Like
Right.
I have the page to have those face-to-face interactions. So for anybody, if anybody's still watching this, like if anybody ever sees me, like please, like I say hi to me to my face. Like I'll be perfectly okay with that. But I tend to agree. Like it's a lot more positive being there in person, like, you know, with like 7 Line and like, you know, all of like kind of like the personalities on here. It's definitely more doom and gloom here on Twitter once the Mets lose.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I did kind of want to, because you obviously went to Shea a lot, probably a lot more than I did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go. I didn't go to Shea that much. Right, growing up in Washington Heights, single mom, there wasn't that much means to go to Shea Stadium. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I had an uncle that took me there a couple of times. We went a lot to Yankee Stadium. It was closer. Tickets for the Little League, whatever. The difference is Shea City, but more
So
ownership wise, which I think you've alluded to a little bit.
So let me just tell you, and I don't know if anybody here is old enough to remember, but I used to grow up going to Shea Stadium every Wednesday night during the summer months because they had the Pepsi picnic area.
Yes.
Those,
Bring the Pepsi can, right, or something like that.
yeah, were some of my favorite times of my life. I would always sit next to this older gentleman named Tony. He was like the sweetest guy. He was there every Wednesday. We had like regulars that would go there. And these are people that were like up in Corona, Queens, maybe like Jackson Heights, where you're from. And those were like to
No,
your
not where I'm from. I'm from Washington Heights. Jackson Heights is right there. If I was Jackson Heights, I would have been able to go to more games.
Heights, I meant Washington Heights. I'm sorry. Washington Heights, Jackson Heights. Like all through the 5 boroughs that came. They weren't those like corporate, like suit and tie people that sometimes you see at City Field, like, you know, during the weeknights. It was all, you know, teenagers like me and people just trying to watch a baseball game. And it broke my heart once they got rid of it. And they got rid of it in 2006 once the team started doing good.
Yeah.
That's just the experience that I miss, because sometimes like I don't I get it sometimes up in 520, but like, just like those hecklers, like the people who are just like so like extra, like I'll share this like one experience that like it might be like a little inappropriate. So I hope that this is blunt thoughts can it be unfiltered.
There's nothing inappropriate in, well,
Okay.
it could be.
Was that at the Pepsi picnic section? I think it was like 2004 when Billy Wagner was still in the Phillies. Was that like 2004? Does that sound about right?
Listen,
Okay.
my memory be like, so
correct me.
you say 2004 is 2004. Don't worry.
So the Phillies pitchers were, we were there super, super early. It was probably like maybe like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The Philadelphia Phillies bullpen was like out in the field, like tossing the ball, like just warming up and whatnot. And everybody in my section was heckling them, like everybody. And somebody was particularly heckling Billy Wagner, like, Billy Wagner, you suck. Like, you're a bum, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, he's like, Billy Wagner, how's the staph infection? Billy Wagner, I shit you not, turns around, looks at that guy dead in the eye, and says, I don't know, go ask your sister.
Oh, gosh. Listen, the person deserved it, I guess.
But those are the type of experiences that I got when I sat there that I just don't have anymore at Citi Field. It was like, it was like the worst of the worst. We were also like doing, oh my God, I forgot the name of this outfielder from the Minnesota Twins. Never mind. I think his name is TJ Hunter.
Torrey Hunter.
So we were playing the Minnesota Twins. It was like an interleague, and somebody was having like, "Hey Hunter, Tori's a girl's name."
Oh my God. Well, that's actually not bad. That's a good one. That's actually not bad at all.
I miss that. It's totally inappropriate.
I'm surprised you don't get that up there in the 500s where you are, because you still get some clever and some rowdy fans that show up. At least out in the outfield where I'm at, for sure.
Maybe I need to sit there more often, because that's part of the ballpark. I have to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's that. Your post on Griffin Canning, which we're not going to be able to spend as much time, but that thing went nuts.
I don't know why. I mean, it was just kind of like a thought that I had at the moment, because somebody posted the video, and I remember watching the game and feeling pretty stunned about the industry because he was dealing. And I had a lot of people in my comments be like, well, if you didn't really look at his stats beforehand. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, I just shared a thought that just like blew up. And I guess like it was a very like hot button topic on whether or not he really made that much of a difference going down an injury to the overall rotation. I think it was just like the first domino of many that fell.
Right.
Maybe
I'll be honest, I saw it and it caught my attention because I felt the same way. And then speaking to you in the last few days, and you mentioned the fact that people came at me and they talked about his stats and the numbers, and I was like, let me go back and look at the numbers. And I knew that he was going through a struggle, but I also felt like he had been showing signs of maybe coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at the numbers, it don't really show that. He had like one good start, but they were bad. But even today there was J Mac. Shout out to J Mac and Randy. You saw the comments, and they were having a little bit of fun because it came up in a space. I do the space. You know what a space is, right? I do the spaces every day, pregame and stuff like that. But we did one. I did one a few days ago when the coaches were fired. Anyways, and the Griffin Canning thing came up, and I'm of the thought of like, nah, we missed it. Shoot, I even kept saying at the end there, who would have thought we were going to miss not only Griffin Canning, but a Tyler McGill?
Yeah.
To just give us major league innings, even if they weren't great innings. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw your post, I was like, nah, I agree. Like, we don't talk about the impact that what the hell that he made.
It,
What's going on?
oh, there we go.
Sorry about
Oh, all good.
that. We don't really focus. What's going on?
Oh, there we go. My tweet.
There's your tweet. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So this losing Griffin Canning this season made a bigger impact on the team than any of us are talking about. Um. And I agree. And like you said, it was a post to a video that Mets Muse, shout out Mets Muse, had posted. And he said, "Going to bed tonight, missing prime Griffin Canning." And you know what? I think like even with a Clay Holmes, I thought people were unfair all season on what we got from Clay Holmes. I thought Clay Holmes had a pretty damn good year. I
Yeah.
think the whole Clay Holmes experience was a success.
Yeah.
Was he an ace? No, but was he meant to be an ace?
Yeah.
Hell no. Who would have expected someone who's coming from a reliever to a starter to be an ace right away? That's your expectations are the ones that are messed up, not him. You know what I'm saying, in my opinion. So um yeah, I agree with it. And although the numbers don't bear it out, I still feel like we can't say that he wasn't going to come out of the struggles that he was going
Yeah. Now I'm curious too because I think he's a free agent now, technically, and I don't know if his hamstring. I think it was his hamstring,
through. I
right?
forget. No,
Yeah.
Achilles. Wasn't it
But
the
his
Achilles?
oh, his Achilles heel. Like if
Yeah,
he
Achilles.
is going to be back in full form next year, because like I'm kind of like hesitant on wanting to re-sign a pitcher that's coming back from injury because obviously that did not work for us this season. But I also kind of feel like we need to add some young arms to the rotation also. So I mean, obviously, I feel like Sprout and Clean have earned their spot in the rotation. Jonah Tong, I think, needs a little bit more time, but Griffin Canning might be an interesting person to look at during the off season.
Yeah, and we'll see how the off season plays out. Like you mentioned earlier, unfortunately, it's gonna be a long off season.
Yeah.
The conversation is gonna be one that I don't particularly like getting involved in too much, but that's the hand we've been dealt. Um, as we get out of here, what's in your opinion the most important thing or things that the Mets need to do this off season going into 2026 to try to, you know, not have what we had happen in 25?
I think it's not really exclusive to one answer. I think obviously like the easy answer is to build a sustainable starting rotation, a solid starting rotation. Everyone says like sign an ace, but it's like who like
I
what
say that.
like but who's out there? Like
Let the
are
genius figure it out, right? This is the genius, Davis turns.
like what exactly can we sacrifice? Like do we have to like make a human sacrifice to get Paul Skeens? Like do we have to
Do
like
it.
kind of like put a severed head like in the GM of
God,
like no, because like they're gonna ask for like I was having a conversation with my friend. They're like, "Oh, give him Sprout, Jonah Tong," and I'm like, "But why would you give the young arms away for Paul Skeens? Like, I get it that he's an ace, but like, we
he's
need to
also
have like,
young though.
yeah, we need to have depth in our pitching
No,
staff
we
too.
do, we do, and I get that, but here's my thinking with that is right. We know what Polskins is. We can hope that, and I'm sorry, Josh. Here on Blunt Thoughts, we have a thing with the names. We try to say the names properly. Sprout, not
Bro, what I
Sprout.
say? Sprout.
Sprout.
I'm sorry. Sprout.
And McLean, not McLean. Anyways, but we know what Paul Skeens is. We
Right.
know he's an ace. We're hoping that either Sprout or Tong
Like someone
become.
saying
They'll
Sprout,
never be what Paul Skeens is.
Tong,
I don't
and
think.
Vientos, like in the like a three player.
Yeah, and listen. When people start throwing names around and packages, I don't listen to most of that stuff because we don't freaking know. You will never hear me put a package together for a trade because I sure as hell don't know. I don't know farm systems. I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
But I know that there is very little. There is very little that I wouldn't give up to get a Paul Skeens. and I'm a big Vientos guy. If you're gonna tell me Vientos needs to go in that deal, Swaggy V, go swaggy your ass in freaking Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? Hope your driver wants to go with you. Um, but give me Postkins, you know. But I would like to try to make that move without. But and I know what I think I have an idea what Mark Vientos can be. I think Mark Vientos is more of the guy we saw in 24 than we did in 25.
I agree.
But that's a whole totally different story. Now he has to go out there and do it. Right? He has to go out there and do it. But I am one of those fans that is saying go out there and get a horse or ace or
Who?
whatever you want to call it
Who's
to
an ace?
lead this rotation. Listen, again, let Boy Genius figure it out. But you want to talk about post schemes? You want to talk about maybe trying to go get a Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins? I'm all for it. Not as high as a post schemes, but yeah, some people have mentioned Tyreek Scooble from the Tigers, and I'm one that says, why the hell would the Tigers do that? I even say, why would if the Pirates trade post schemes, the Pirates should be contracted. They shouldn't exist. That's my opinion, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
But selfishly, as a Met fan, I saw somebody mention a Zach Gallen. You know, in my opinion, we need to find, and I even hate using these comparisons, but we need to find that Cesar Sabathia, like when the Yankees got Cesar Sabathia, who came in and was able to anchor that rotation right then, and then lead some young guys to come up and fill in. But he was still that guy. You need that. We need that guy. I can't take the chance that Senga's gonna finally figure it out. The Manaya is gonna come back, and the arm angle and all that stuff is gonna be the elixir to everything.
We've had guys like that, but Stearns just doesn't like to sign pitchers over the age of 30 long term. Like that could have been Quintana.
Yeah.
Dare I say that could have been Chris Bassett?
Or even maybe we should have kept Severino.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one that was saying, you know what, I think we probably got everything we could get out of Quintana, so I wasn't upset when we let him go, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
If there's any, we'll talk about Prime Griffin Canning or whatever, or Tyler McGill. We sure as hell could have used a professional innings eater pitcher like a Jose Quintana. Absolutely. But I don't know if that's my focus right now. I need someone better. I need someone better. I need a you say who? I need a stopper. I need a stopper.
Yang.
I don't know quién. Te estoy diciendo. Schemes. I don't know. Let the genius figure it out. But you're right. You're right. And listen, David Stearns has told us as much. He has told us we need to build pitching from within and an abundance of it, and that will remain the focus. He said this again. He keeps doubling and tripling down on that. So in some ways, I expect us to be let down this offseason when it comes to acquisitions, especially when it comes to pitching. Now, he could surprise us. He could surprise us with a trade or something. We don't know. It's not my job to know King. It's his job. I just have to wish he needs to fulfill it. I can't fulfill it. I'm sorry.
That's a good take. I think the off season, nothing is ever gonna like hit like the Juan Soto signing did. I think tempering our expectations. I'm sure there's gonna be complaints all off season leading into opening day about what to do, and what Stearns hasn't done. But as long as we have some sort of like rotation that is not built on used car parts, I think I'll be okay.
Right. Rotation that guys that belong in the chop chops because of
exactly, the city field chop.
more than the bullpen or the city field mound.
Yeah.
Josh, thank you so much. I gotta let you get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I have to go to bed.
Yes, I'm so sorry, but this has been fun. This is what happens on Blunt Thoughts. We just have conversation, and sometimes they go a little long. We'll definitely do this again.
For sure.
Like I said before, this is what Blunt Thoughts is about. It's about the fan. It's about fan experience, fan opinion, whatever. Like, there's enough experts and stuff to go around, and maybe I'll get lucky to have some of those guys on. But I like talking to the fan. So you've been numero uno of what we hope to be many more, and we hope to see you again.
Thanks to everyone who's still watching. This like went on for so long.
Yes. Shout out to everybody
Yeah.
for checking us out. One thing you said in your video, and you mentioned it here tonight, this team had a target on their back. I embrace that.
Yeah. Like
That means we're good. It's like when people complain about the Sunday night games and national TV games. I know it's a drag, and I'm not as high as everybody with the whole Gary Keefe and Ron thing, whatever. Like I'm here to watch a ball game, right? The same thing like when I go to the stadium. But all of those things mean that we're a good team.
Yeah.
You know. Now it didn't.
They need to
completely play out that way this year. We had the target and we didn't play like the good team, but I embraced that.
Yeah. But
now they just need to recognize it. I'm with you on that.
Look at the stupid Marlin social media. The Orioles were we were catching strays from them when we played. Like they need to light a fire under their ass.
Yeah. They just need to recognize it and use it to fuel them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
But it's a great thing.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. A good one. Bye.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Shout out to everybody that came through and watched and participated in the comments. I apologize we couldn't get to as many of the comments as we normally do or would have liked to, but that's what happens when you're having conversations sometimes, and it's a good one. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I'm going to get out of here myself. I want to get to bed, but I got to do a few things before I do that so I can get out there, go early. We are working on another Blunt Thoughts for tomorrow, a little bit different. Very excited about that one. Should have another guest. If we don't have a guest, we may or may not do it because how much are we going to talk about the same thing? But if we do, that'll be tomorrow at 9 p.m. I don't want to say who it is because it has to be confirmed. I mean, the person's confirmed. It's just whether they'll be able to do it tomorrow or not. If they're not able to do it tomorrow, we'll probably do it next weekend at this time. But we'll see how that goes. With that, you already know what it is. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy what's left of your weekend. Have a good week at work. And as always, 2025 wasn't great. We can't stand them in 2025. But it will forever be. Let's go, Mets. Peace.
My clique full of animals, and we made ourselves with minimal. Fuck you, no subliminals. Putting in this work, nigga. That's why they feelings hurt, nigga. Swear we need a hearse, cause we rep our shites to the dirt, nigga. If I'm in the club.